Hi, hello, and welcome, or welcome back, I suppose. God, this is such a breath of fresh air after last week. I needed it so bad. And I did read this pretty much I say finished. I finished reading the last book. I finished reading, according to Yes, and then started this the next day. And it is just first of all so necessary. It's also the first book in a while that hasn't been from my shelf because I'm now back on doing a mix, and I do actually plan on continuing to read from my shelf and not just letting it all stare at me in disapproval. Anyway, a good few weeks ago now, I read Beastars Volume 1 for the first time and immediately, 1, fell in love, 2, requested Volume 2. And to be fair, I already knew I was picking up whatever Itagaki was putting down when I read Drip Drip. That was a wonderfully weird time, and I knew then that I should dive into this series as well. So, you've seen the title, that's exactly what we're doing. Let's talk Beastars Volume 2. And also, let's make up for the last Beastars speed draw. I'll probably do some Anther Animal stuff again, but the actual screen capture won't be piss. Enjoy. If you saw my last Beastars video, you'll know that her art style is everything to me. She is one of, if not my absolute favourite storyteller with this medium, but I'll touch more on that later. For now, I'm just starting as I mean to continue, because even before we start anything to do with the plot, we are gifted with this. Apologies for bits being covered with library paraphernalia, but you can see the important part. There's just something about her style that sparks joy in me, and that's followed up by a little cast sheet, which gives me some more wonderful little art glimpses, which I'm always going to be happy about, but it also gives me a good catch up because I did genuinely need it. It's not that I couldn't remember the plot, but a refresher is always definitely useful. And we are following directly on from the previous volume with 0 time jumps, meaning that straight away Legoshi is fully going through it and continues to do so for the entire book. But in all fairness, that does seem to be the general theme of the series, so there is that. And the entire scene in the garden is a roller coaster of emotions for him. And it's kind of delightful. He's with the little white rabbit, Haru, who he basically hunted and held in his grasp towards the end of the last volume. She doesn't recognise him, but she's injured and is still somewhat shaken up. Meanwhile, we learn that Haru has somewhat of a reputation for sleeping around, obviously being shamed for this by the men that happily slept with her in the first place, because God forbid you consider that you're all doing the same thing. And this reputation is seemingly compounded by the fact that she is a rabbit. Use your imagination, consider what rabbits are known for in our own world, and obviously there's a lot about one's nature in this book. And I love how Itagaki works with her characters. We're not shying away from the fact that Haru is promiscuous, but that should not tarnish her overall character. She's also an incredible gardener who treats all the... I'm saying, oh, she's also this, she's also that. I'm just saying that, she's a well-rounded person. I'm not saying that she should ever be shamed for being promiscuous. I will get on to that. I just feel like early on that implies me saying, well, yeah, she is that, but she's also this. She's also an incredible gardener who treats all the plants in her allotment like her little children. But in a setting like a school, reputation can, or at least feel, so life or death. She's a fully fledged person who also has the same wants and needs as the guys. I mean, hell, if you want someone promiscuous but want to shame a woman who does the same, sleep with men, coward. That's not a message in the book, to be clear. I simply think men like this should try to scrounge together some brain cells about the whole thing. And we get a little explaining why she feels she has to look after all the plants in her garden. As she puts it, the weak have to help each other survive. And once again, I am graced with some gorgeous shots. The panel with that quote, with her above him and Legoshi looking so unusually small, followed shortly by this page with Haru herself looking so small and fragile. And in that one panel, being in his shadow, I love the way she composes things. I love the way she puts everything together. Like, there is a gentleness to much of this chapter that warms my heart, playing with the dynamics of the predator-prey setup we've already grown used to. Now, at the end of this chapter, and through the beginning of the next, Haru does try it on with Legoshi, going so far as to strip down to her underwear and try to take his clothes off. But it would appear that Legoshi has about as much knowledge as, like, fucking Kiryu Kazuma, because why do I feel like that's the wrong surname I've got? My brain is not allowing me things here. My brain is turned off. No, that is right. Fine. Anyway, I'm trying to ruin my own jokes here. But listen, Legoshi he's not just wanting to reject her. It seems like he almost has no idea what's going on until she literally tries to remove his trousers to see what he's got going on in there. And in all fairness, we do learn that he hasn't ever, in particular, had at least romantic feelings. Perhaps with the implication that he hasn't ever really lusted after anybody either. Hell, he assumed her taking all of her clothes off might have been some kind of standard small animal greeting. He's not the brightest button in the box, and there is a certain level of, that one could say, naivety to him, but I do wonder if that is going to be touched on more explicitly in regards to his, as it were, relationship to romance and sexuality and that sort of thing, because I would definitely be interested in that. But I don't want to dive too much further into the plot itself, like going through it bit by bit, but I want to leave a little for you to read, but I cannot leave some things out because I'll explode if I don't talk about it. So we learned that those in the drama club were sought out rather than just joining it by choice. And it's not necessarily just due to their talents, but rather that everyone there has something about themselves that they keep hidden. We know about Legoshi. He's keeping the more beast-like side of him held down as much as he possibly can. Now, of course, we have a much larger cast of characters than the few we see in any detail. And yes, that means we have a whole theatre club full of secrets to uncover, but I want to talk about Louis, the red deer who is the star of the show. He's the lead actor in the current production they're running, and the one people come to shows to see more generally. But he's hiding an injury to his foot. He should not be performing, but continues to do so anyway, taped up and piled with painkillers. And frankly, as someone who deals with chronic pain from a mix of my body just being like that and injuries from my body just being like that, I immediately just felt that kind of kinship. Life goes on around being in pain, and sometimes you do just have to push through it, but learning when to do so and when to actually listen to your body aching and screaming can be so difficult. The show must go on until the curtain closes on you and you can't take it anymore. And there are two moments in particular that really just got me surrounding Louis. The first being this page here. I just love the way it's all put together. It's a bunch of little things for me just all coming together. I love the way Itagaki does storytelling. I love the way the panels are put together, the composition of the main panel with Louis there. I know it's like probably relatively simple stuff, but there really is just something about the way she uses her graph to put everything together so nicely. This one spread tells you everything you need to know about what Louis is hiding from the rest of the theatre club, and that it's probably not something new. In just that one small part there, you can see that these clearly aren't something like ibuprofen or paracetamol or an aspirin, something like that. They're a one-a-day type deal. Clearly this is something far more serious than we've had any idea of. But despite everything, he performs anyway. It's his shining moment. The people there are wanting to see him. The show must go on, but as the curtain closes, we get these 2 pages. The pain is too much. He does not have that choice to continue anymore. His body has made that choice for him. And I felt that. I've 100% allowed myself to get to the point where my body or my brain has to outright make me stop. And this just sat in my chest. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series to see where Itagaki takes Louis' arc, because it would appear that it's far more than just this one major injury. Being in the prey category in this universe, his body isn't meant to move the way that predators do. Think of champion racehorses. One leg break and that's it. Sometimes they do get to heal, but they live a life of being bred. And sometimes they don't even get that. Sometimes they just get put down. And I'm not saying Louis is going to live the champion, the Wonder Horse life. Not least of all because he's a red deer. But I think it's very telling that it is his leg, or more specifically his foot, that is the main source of his suffering. I'll be intently following his story in the upcoming volume. Because, you know, chronic pain gang, rise up. Slowly, with a good amount of old man grunts and grumbles. But once again, Itagaki has me head over heels in love with her work. I just love her art style, her writing, her characters, all of it. It sparks so much joy in me. I have already requested volume 3. Hopefully I can get my hands on it again. It'll have to be a special request, but hey, at least now I've ended up putting Beastars into circulation in my local area, because I searched just to check if anything else had been added to the regular catalogue to request, and no, but you can now reserve and borrow volume 1 and 2 without a special request. So if anything, I'm giving the people what they deserve. So next week, I'm pretty sure I'm back onto reading from my shelf. I think it's the one I was going to get as a library book, but the request queue was massively long. Stick around and you'll find out soon enough, I suppose. But let me know what you've been reading lately in the comments below. I'm always interested to know what's been keeping the little reading bug in your brain happy. You know, let me know what manga, graphic novels, comics you've been reading lately, all that sort of stuff. Also, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, feel free to put your notifications on and all that cringe shit I'm supposed to ask you to do in my videos. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful whenever you are watching this. Take good care of yourself. Right.